It was an ordinary afternoon in the heart of downtown. A man dressed in a faded baseball cap and a worn jacket walked along the crowded streets. He moved with purpose, though he didn't seem to draw much attention. To anyone watching, he looked like just another face in the crowd, a nobody in a city full of nobodies. But that illusion wouldn't last. As he turned a corner, two police cars suddenly pulled up, screeching to a halt. Officers jumped out, shouting commands. "On the ground! Hands where we can see them!" People froze. Some ducked into doorways, others whipped out their phones to record. The man, startled but composed, raised his hand slowly. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice calm yet firm. The officers weren't interested in answers. They cuffed him, patted him down, and hauled him into the back of a cruiser. The crowd buzzed with speculation. Who is he? What did he do? He looks so normal. At the station, the officers were sure they'd caught someone big. Maybe a fugitive, a wanted criminal, or a con artist. But as they processed him, fingerprints, ID checks, questioning, something didn't add up. No criminal record, no outstanding warrants, not even a parking ticket. The man sat silently in the interrogation room, his hands cuffed to the table. He didn't fidget or complain. He wasn't angry or scared. Instead, he seemed patient. "All right," said the lead detective, stepping into the room. "Who are you, really? And why were you out there walking like you had nothing to hide?" The man smirked, tilting his head slightly. "You're asking the wrong question," he replied. The detective blinked. "What's the right question?" The man leaned forward, his voice steady, but laced with something the detective couldn't quite place. "Why do you think I'm here?" Before the detective could respond, there was a knock at the door. Another officer entered, holding a file, his face pale. "Sir, you need to see this." The detective opened the file and began flipping through the pages. His eyes widened, his jaw tightening with every line he read. Then he stopped, staring at the man like he'd just seen a ghost. "You're kidding," he muttered. The man smiled faintly. "Not quite. Here's where the story takes a turn no one saw coming. The man wasn't a criminal. Far from it. He was someone the world thought had disappeared years ago, someone whose name had been whispered in circles of power, both for his extraordinary achievements and the threats against his life. Years ago, he had been a celebrated humanitarian, a man who single-handedly changed the lives of thousands. He had negotiated peace deals in war zones, exposed corruption in high places, and risked his life for causes most people wouldn't even dare to speak about. But his work came at a cost. Powerful enemies began to circle, determined to silence him. First, they tried to ruin his reputation. When that didn't work, they went after his family. And when he still refused to back down, they made it clear, if he didn't disappear, he wouldn't live to see another sunrise. So he vanished, changed his name, erased his digital footprint, and started over. For years, he lived under the radar, doing odd jobs, blending in, staying out of sight, until now. The detective slammed the file shut, his mind racing. This man wasn't just someone they couldn't arrest. He was someone they owed, someone the world owed. The room fell silent. Finally, the detective spoke. "Why didn't you just tell us who you were?" The man's smile faded. "Would you have believed me? Or would you have thought it was a clever story from someone trying to talk their way out of trouble?" The detective didn't respond. He didn't have to. They both knew the answer. Within hours, the man was released. But the story didn't stay quiet for long. Word got out. People began to recognize his face, remember his name, and recount the stories of his bravery. The media called him a hero, but he didn't see it that way. When reporters asked why he came back, his answer was simple. "The world still needs fixing, and I've had enough of hiding." As he walked out of the police station, free and unbroken, the cameras followed. But he didn't stop for interviews or fanfare. He had something bigger in mind, something only he could do. Because some people don't just survive the storms, they become the calm after it. And that's who he was.